our digital platforms are actually dealing with a little bit of a severe thunderstorm warning for Effingham County right now as this line starts to finish its last bit for the evening, and we're not too worried about severe weather once this stuff climbs on out of here. But you take a look, we have quite the system here developing over Effingham. Let's get that sky cam up for you, and I'll get that full screen so you can take a look at what's going on there in Effingham. And I guess you can really just see it the way it is right there. Just absolutely nothing in vision. Just got rain pounding the area right now. This is from the St. Anthony Hospital looking out west towards Keller Drive, but of course you can't see any of that right now. We have some torrential downpours going on right there. I'll let you take a look at that. So again, not much being able to be seen there in Effingham right now. They're getting hit by what looks like 70-mile-an-hour winds. Some looks like 3/4 of an inch sized hail, and of course plenty of lightning associated with these storms too. Let me get that radar image pulled up for you there so you can get a look here at some of the lightning that we've seen associated with quite a few of these storms here today. Actually, I mean, just look at that. Look how many lightning strikes are part of this storm. And like we said, that's just how it's been all day long. We've had plenty roll through the area here since about 2 in the afternoon is when most of it started to pop up. And just since then, we've had one severe storm after another just kind of piling through. And we had that severe thunderstorm watch placed out there until 9 p.m. That's kind of just coming and going as these storms push on through right now. But really, Effingham's the one we're looking at right now. We'll put this in motion just to kind of see how everything's going right now. And again, once this part is over with, doesn't look like a whole lot behind it. We're going to see some showers and some not terribly strong storms throughout the evening tonight. That should all be gone and out of the area by towards afternoon time tomorrow. But again, we're monitoring a couple places here right now. Even got some severe thunderstorm warnings down there in parts of Jasper and Clay County as well. And again, we mentioned that this is really just the last bit that's rolling through. We got rain in places that we needed up here towards the northeast. And of course, that is just what the doctor ordered for us, just because it's been a tough summer up here towards the Champaign area. And taking a look at some of our chats here, yes, it looks like it is for the most part over, and Champaign might have a couple of lingering showers here and there now, but again, most of it is now a problem for the southern parts of our viewing area. And I'll get another image pulled up here. We do have a flood watch in effect through the evening until 7 a.m. tomorrow. We're looking at these places in particular for additional rain tonight. And we've noticed on a few of our future track radars that we do have some heavier rain that might pop up as part of early tomorrow morning into later parts of tonight. And again, we're looking at these southern counties. You know, Effingham, Jasper, Crawford, those have been areas that have been hard hit by rain here recently. Again, there might be just this one more night of dealing with it here for just a little bit. We'll take a look here. Most places should be pretty cooled off by now. Looking at our heat index values, yep, looking like most places there are in those low 70s. We had 100-degree heat index values here at one point in the day. That's all come and gone now. This cold front has really just lifted all that away, really cooled things off. We're not going to get too much cooler tonight. We're actually going to be somewhat warm tomorrow, calling for a high of around 85. But again, that front that ran through has just really cooled things off here. Let's take a look back in Effingham again. Starting to be able to see just a little bit there on the camera. But again, this is looking west of the hospital out there towards Keller Drive. And again, just a ton of rain.
So I turned it to the east.
You turned it to the, okay, yeah, so this is what it looks like.
It actually froze.
Right. So it looks like they're probably losing some connection. It's very hit or miss here at the moment. But we even had a moment here in the studio actually where when it was passing over, some of the storms are passing over here, we just had lightning shake the place and
bring
had
that
some
camera
of our
back full. Look
monitors.
at those trees that are blowing. That's just impressive to see. Some of that wind in there. I mean, that camera's shaking around. You know,
yeah.
It's bolted in there pretty good.
Yes, it is.
It's supposed to be pretty stationary. They got some heavy weights on there, so moving that around. The wind picking up here now.
And we called for that around.
And I'm recording this on our ingester to maybe see if we can catch something, but it's there's some blustery winds there right now, Seth. You're familiar with it. This is your stomping.
Yes, this is. I worked in Effingham for several years. It's the main town that we go to. You know, I live in Diedrich, so it's the main town you go to get all your groceries and stuff. And you know, it's exactly what's going on right now. We got a severe storm rolling through the area. A bunch of familiar places for me there. Again, that's on top of the St. Anthony Hospital as that rolls on through. We'll take a look at the radar here just to get an update on that. We'll come back to that cam here in just a moment. But again, loads of lightning associated with this. Got those 70-mile-an-hour winds that we're starting to see unfold there. Get that lightning pulled up.
Ooh, we just had power go out. Bring that Effingham camera up. Sorry.
No,
I'm keeping an eye on it. On the left side there, I think it may have been a...
I noticed it start to shake in the background. I was looking off in the
big
distance.
lightning strike was just there, and the power on the whole left side there went out.
There's something again.
Something like that, and then it just kind of went off.
But yeah, I mean, these storms have just been electric today. That's been the theme of most of these. Obviously, we've had the high winds and heavy rainfall, but there's just loads of lightning. There's no break in the lightning when you look at it on the radar, and it's just everywhere. And it looks like that rain is starting to clear up just a little bit. Those
Maybe a little
winds
bit, yeah.
have died down just a tad, but
And
if you just saw that one car right there, just shoveled a bunch of water there onto the next yard.
Yeah,
So there is quite a bit of piling rain there already.
You're familiar with some of the flooding down Effingham and Diederich. This rain probably won't help much down there, will it?
No, it absolutely will not. I think for the most part, these last couple days when we were dealing with rain, I think Effingham was just on the edge of it, so maybe they're not quite as bad. Maybe leaning more towards the Teutopolis area, it might be a little worse. But again, Diederich did get some pretty bad flooding. It was 2 nights ago. Yesterday it didn't get too bad, but again, these places have gotten all the rain all summer long. I can recall earlier in June when Effingham flooded pretty bad. I mean, these guys have gotten all kinds of rain.
It was like 4 or 5 inches in a short period of time.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, it was 5 inches, I think, from the 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock hour in the morning there. So again, Effingham's seen quite a bit of this here so far this year, and we keep getting a couple of ripples there in our camera, some lightning strikes nearby.
Sure. So, well, show us more about this storm and where it's heading.
Yeah, let's take a look. It looks like most of it is sitting in the southern part of our viewing area. We might have a little bit of impact here as we head towards Jasper. We'll get this thing in motion here. But again, most of it looks like it's, for the most part, just that touch part in Effingham there. And then we do have a little bit down there in Clay County heading towards Richland County as well. And again, we'll get that lightning pulled up there just to show what kind of intensity we're dealing with here. And again, we mentioned those 70-mile-an-hour winds, and that's another place I forgot to mention. Even though it's not in our area, Olney did get hit hard by all that rain. And I'm not sure how things are down there. I know I have a friend that helps fix some internet cables down there, and I know they've been dealing with quite a bit here lately, and it looks like they're going to get quite a bit more here as another round of storms rolls through. And again, we do expect a little bit more in the way of rainfall tonight. Nothing to the severe extent that we've seen so far here this afternoon. But again, additional rainfall here overnight, and we'll see how that progresses over time. We mentioned that flood watch threat as well. Get a little bit closer here into Effingham just to see and get that lightning off real quick, just to see a couple places in the path of this storm. Looks like Watson and Eberly right now are starting to feel the bulk of it. Bishop out there by the Bishop Church. Mason feeling quite a bit of it right now. And of course ahead in the path of the storm looks like Latona, Newton of course, and Ingraham. So those are some of the places here in the impact zone. And of course looking down a little bit outside the area down there towards Louisville and Clay City. That's where they're starting to get a lot of impact here soon as well. Again, looking like it's going to pretty well head south of the area once it passes through Effingham. And we mentioned Jasper County will get a little bit out of this as well. But effectively, this is the last bit of severe weather that we're watching right now in our viewing area. It's happening to an area, of course, that has dealt with quite a bit of rain here in the past several days, the way it is already. So again, let's take a look at that Effingham sky cam there just to see all the action that's going on there. Do see a little bit of lightning still, and of course some rain coming down. Looks like those winds have died down quite a bit. That initial shelf cloud has passed through, and the winds have started to die down now. It's looking like mainly just a rainstorm. Of course, that is now heading through the eastern part of Effingham County right now, heading probably towards places like Teutopolis and Diederich are now in the path of that storm.
I'm going to turn that camera a little bit and just kind of play some spotting if you want. You can keep talking about where this is going. I would say the one thing is it seems like the severe threat really winds down behind the storm, but there will still be more storms.
Yes.
I see some other stuff trying to develop north of Taylorville. We'll take a look at that. But obviously, Seth, our goal is here. We're talking about where the severe storms are, and that's what we're focused on right now.
Take a look, swinging this around here. I wondered what all that lighting was earlier. Now we're getting a little reflection off that light.
It's nice having this camera down in Effingham here. It's in a good spot. We actually, at one point, I think it was on the north side over there, in that 5-inch rain, the intersection of the right side. That's where I think one of the vans was stuck that we caught on the camera.
Looking out to the
sitting there in that June event that we had.
Looking out to the northwest now towards the interstates angle.
Yeah. And the good thing is these storms keep moving as well.
Yes, because
so we're not going to just stall this particular batch out.
Yes,
I think folks in Effingham and Diederich especially.
That's a big problem that they've dealt with here the past few days. It's not that these storms are about as intense as those other ones were, but those ones just sat still and didn't really go anywhere. They're just kind of stalled on themselves, and that's why you've got rainfall totals close to about 10 inches there in Dietrich. Again, looks like the bulk of the storm has passed through Effingham now, and we're mainly dealing with parts exiting the east side of Effingham County and entering into Jasper County now as well. We'll get that radar back up here to see.
And if you want also, you can kind of check some of those chats on the computer next to you. You can kind of look at them. Somebody was saying that the third time this week the wind has blown down their gazebo, southern Effingham area. Lisa mentioning that.
Got a couple more
Not
here.
surprised with that wind coming through there.
Yep.
We saw that wind pick up, and it got a little intense there for a second.
Laura says really nasty right now in Effingham, loud thunder and lots of lightning, high wind. Of course, that's definitely expected with this. We called for that 70-mile-an-hour wind. And of course, plenty of rainfall associated with it. Take a look at a couple more of the comments here. Yep, third time the wind has blown down the gazebo, and there have been a lot of strong storms passing through this particular part of our viewing area here the last couple days. Still some places recovering from that damage, and of course this will certainly not do anything to help. I know I've heard of a few people whose basements flooded from the last couple days, and I warned them a little bit that something's coming down right now, and I know there's not much they can do about it, but it's just going to make a bad problem even worse here, as it looks like even more rain is dumping down. And again, there's not a whole lot behind this, but while some places are weathering the storm right now, it's a pretty difficult situation. We'll get this back in motion here. It's looking like it's starting to pass over Bishop and Lucas area right now on its way to Latona, entering Jasper County here momentarily. And I believe this warning is out till 7:45 for Effingham County. I would not be surprised to see this extend just a little bit over into Jasper County as well.
If we want to, go ahead and take a view area-wide just to see some of those storms. We like to focus on the severe storms, but we got some more trying to form there. It looks like kind of over the Decatur area. And I pulled that Decatur camera up too. You can kind of talk about that. It looks like even northwest of Champaign now more coming on.
Looks like it's flared up here just within the last 15 minutes out there by Decatur, and we noticed a little bit of that in our future radar, said that something would probably pop up there around Decatur. I think they shifted the flood watch a little south of that area. We got a couple of updates here. Looks like continued thunderstorm warning, wind 60-mile-an-hour radar indicated. Again, that hail 3/4 of an inch for Marion until 7:30, it looks like.
See that orange chat from Doug?
Let me see if I can get it.
Third from the bottom there on the...
Yes. Just had a report of a tree knocked down and a couple of poles west of Louisville on Kidmundy. Blacktop have a unit en route. Okay, so we got some tree damage, and that's definitely expected with 70-mile-an-hour winds, and I would not be surprised if we got a few more of those to come on in. And Doug actually says in Clay County, rather, yes, west of Louisville. So they're dealing with that in Clay County. Again, that's a little outside of our area, just to get a little view for those who might not be quite familiar. We're looking down here in the Louisville area towards Clay County. That is where we have reports of a tree down and some people now en route to the Blacktop to help clean some things up there. But we did mention we have a little bit forming up here towards Decatur, even a little bit northwest of Champaign here. Keeping an eye on a couple of these storms that have just popped up here within the last 15 or 20 minutes or so. Got a little bit going through Forsyth right now, north of Decatur.
I've got that camera turned there too if you want to peek at it.
Yeah, we'll take a look there at the sky cam out towards Decatur and see what we can see out that direction once we get that one booted up here.
Oh, that's Effingham. I'm using the wrong button there. Let me try that again. Cleared up in Effingham, but that's like north from Decatur.
There we go. You can see that nice little shelf cloud there in Decatur. Another round of storms rolling through, and another ominous sight. We've seen quite a few of these shelf clouds just plow on through, and expect some more winds with this, some more rain, cool it down even more than what it already is. And
yeah, I think the good news with these storms forming back, there's not as much instability. They look a little more elevated.
Right.
But you can almost see what looks like that long cloud there, and that'll be interesting to watch if that turns into the parent shelf cloud or if that's just a roll cloud swinging out there. It seems like I would think the severe threat would be lower on the backside, but still the lightning is just impressive there.
Yes.
Forsyth, Maroa, Oriana, Argenta. And you can see it on that camera there too. I also have that Champagne camera, and I'll just switch that for you. You can peek there, that little cell that's developing. That cell looks like it's coming over Lake of the Woods on the north side of 74, and if I can find the right one. So we know the storms aren't done tonight. We're optimistic, I think, Seth.
Right.
The severe threat
Is effectively, yes.
It's wrapping up. Yeah.
There's a lot of humidity out there still. Our dew points have dropped a little bit, but just those temperatures have fallen. It's just not as likely for anything to form. Of course,
probably
never
the
say
flooding threat will be.
Right. Yeah. Never say never, but we do see some rain rolling through here in the area in later parts of the evening. Again, we do have that flood watch for a few of the southern counties in the area. Might be a little difficult to see on screen here. We can really see it well here on the computer that there is some rain starting to fall there on that Champaign iNet cam. And same case over there in Decatur, if you just saw that last one as well, as another cloud rolls on through, looking like it's going to bring some more rain to a couple of these areas. We'll look here again just to see how those have progressed. We'll get that lightning on too, just to see what we're dealing with in regards to that. Quite a bit there in the storm north of Decatur. Not much with that Champaign cell to the northwest there, but again, Decatur might be dealing with another medium-sized storm here as that starts to head towards places like Monticello. Again, we'll keep an eye on that one as well as the one northwest of Champaign, but of course still dealing with that one down towards Effingham. We'll check in again on that one. And it looks like it's effectively passed through the city of Effingham, now on its way towards Jasper County and parts of Clay County. Again, we got reports of some damage down there in Clay County, west of Louisville. Looks like a tree was knocked down, a couple of poles also knocked down, and there's a couple of units en route to make a couple of repairs there as well. So again, this is the last severe threat that we're dealing with as of right now. We might have a little bit popping up here in other parts of the area, looking particularly at Decatur right now. We do have a couple of lightning strikes now northwest of Champaign. We'll get that camera back up here to see if anything new has developed out of that. But it's been a busy day since about 2 o'clock. Most of the area has been dealing with some form of severe storm or heavy rain or high wind, and I'm sure there's been a little bit of damage all around today, but again, these last couple of days have been pretty intense, and we're going to see quite a bit of rain tonight as well. But again, when that all clears out, it should be sometime by noontime, give or take tomorrow, and that will be out of there, and we'll get this flood watch pulled up just to show a couple of the places that are at risk for that flooding. It looks like a lot of our southern counties down there where we're going to see a lot of our showers develop tonight. Again, not too worried about anything in the way of severe weather overnight tonight, but additional rain on the way to places that have seen quite a bit here in the past couple of days. We'll go ahead and get that future track pulled up here just to see what's in store once all this rolls through. So you see that passing out of Effingham and Clay County areas. And it's really not going to get too intense as we head towards the midnight hours, but again, you start to see some heavier rain develop there across the area, especially those southern counties. So you might see some of that heavier rain into early Thursday morning and after sunrise as well. But again, effectively by noon tomorrow, it looks like most of that will be out of there. Do have a few isolated rain chances in the days ahead, but this was the big day we were looking forward to. This was the day we saw for a while that there was going to be plenty of rain coming in through the area. Places that needed the rain most got it, and I'll be interested to see what that drought monitor looks like tomorrow, see if we chipped away at some of those dry areas and even some of that moderate drought area as well.
Yeah, if you want to see the rain totals too, that drought monitor is going to be, it won't include today's rain, but the rain totals is that right there. And it'll take a second for the data to load on there, and that looks like it's old data.
It does.
So, let's see, when did those storms come through yesterday? Was that?
That was about...
Is that evening and this morning? No, that was... Go ahead and just click this to 6 hours, or start about 2, probably 6 would be good. And that may allow it to refresh. So there you go. Now you can catch the rain for today and kind of query that and see. And we've had some reports come in too. We'll solicit some reports and we'll check the co-op side. Not everyone's gotten the rain today. So
right.
Some spots that have, though, Champaign County, we got some good rain here in town. Caused some of that flooding that we had on air tonight.
Trying to get a couple of totals to pop up here once it looks like it's stalling.
Is it working?
Stalling a bit on me here. I got it,
Yeah,
I think, waiting on one. But it looks like we got quite a bit up there in the northwest part of...
Yeah, usually that yellow color is going to be somewhere in the 1 to 2 range. Is that the button that's not working there?
Looking like I'm waiting on it, something to pop up.
Oh, you know what? I don't know what it is. For whatever reason, it's not showing, but there's your number right there.
There's 2.6
yeah, so
in that one.
Yellow spot there.
Right there by Cowden, and we'll get a couple more areas. I know you can't see it on your screens there at home, but I'll try to update you here as I click along to check a couple of these spots. We'll just take a look at Effingham here. And it gave me a road name. That's not incredibly helpful. Let's get that out of the way. So we'll check.
It's a touchy little...
Check Effingham here real quick.
It's
See
a touchy thing.
Accumulation of 1.2 there in Effingham right now, radar estimated. We'll go up north here, see if we can get a couple of more areas to get some rainfall identified here to see just how much some areas got. We'll actually take a look up here towards Champaign to see how things went today in the place that needs it the most. Get that palette popped up here, and we are switching to the last 6 hours to see what's happened here today. And we'll just take a look a little south of Champaign, maybe more towards Savoy there, just to see. I got an accumulation of 1.7 there in Champaign. Look out there towards Danville, see how much they ended up with. Once that one will prompt up, let me get it off to the side there again, see if anything will happen. Looks like 9/10 of an inch around the Danville area. So yeah, plenty of places here that have needed the rain the most, plenty of places with that really dried grass and some crops that maybe aren't doing the best. Finally getting that relief. We've dodged a lot of rain chances all summer long. Finally cashed in on this one. We thought we might. This looked like an extended enough of a system to give us a chance there at some of that rain. And it looks like that's exactly what's happened here today. We'll check in on our sky cams again. That one out towards Effingham. Let me get that one switched up here, see if I can get Champaign back up there to see what's going on. Actually, let's try Decatur first. Check in on that one. Oh yeah, there's a good shot. That's a good shot of that cloud right there. Maybe let me look just a little bit. Get that angle there to get the cloud as good as possible. But again, more starting to come in here, and you can see that rain starting to fall there in the distance here on Decatur. We'll get a look at that cloud there. It's pretty ominous again. We mentioned that another storm is forming out there towards Decatur. You can see those rain shafts there in the distance starting to drop a little bit there in the area. And we'll peek back in on that radar there real quick. Again, still dealing with that severe thunderstorm down there in Effingham, looking like it's on its way towards Jasper now, as most of the warning has now been placed on the eastern half of Effingham. We'll get a look here, put this one in motion around north of Decatur up there towards Forsyth, and it's looking like it's probably going to stay north of Decatur there unless a little bit develops there on the west side of town as well.
But even camera location is right there in the middle, right where the road kind of splits, right below the A.
Yes.
That's where downtown is there. So we got that looking north. There's that other one on the southwest side.
Yeah, looking like heading towards Mount Zion now as well. Another part on the southern. Looks like Decatur has split this one in half, really. There's a little bit to the north, a little bit to the south, but it looks like they are in the clear for the moment. There's a little bit developing out there towards Harristown. We'll see what happens with that. Again, we'll take a look here at what's going on in Champaign. Most of the severe threat is gone, but again, we have a couple of storms starting to flare up again here. Looks like that cell is just a little tiny thing north of Champaign there, more towards Mahomet areas, heading on its way towards Rantoul and Sellers out in that direction. Again, nothing too big, but something that's just popped up behind this main line of storms here. As our severe threat really starts to wind down for the day, it was an active day. Several counties in the area ended up with those severe thunderstorm warnings starting at around 2 o'clock today. And since then, we've been dealing with some damage in places in the area, and we'll take a look here at some of the chats to see what anyone else is seeing. Still very active 3 miles east of Effingham. That was reported about 5 minutes ago, so it's likely that that threat is over with for the most part in parts of Effingham. Might be getting a little bit of rain there on the east side of Effingham. Take an even closer look here, looking like Bishop, Dietrich, those areas are starting to get the bulk of the rain head out of the area. And again, that threat is really starting to head there towards Jasper, the Newton area. Looking like Newton will probably start to get a bit of rain here in just a little bit as it passes through Latona in places out that direction. And again, this is our real only severe threat at the moment. We have a couple of storms starting to pop up in places. Like we mentioned, Decatur, we'll get back on that iCam there once we get trained in on that spot on the radar. You can see another cloud rolling in through rain shafts there in the distance. Again, we mentioned how Decatur right now is in the clear, but to the north and to the south, we have a little bit going on there. There's a little bit of lightning associated with this one north of Decatur as well, as has been many of the storms today that we have seen. And again, we do have that flood watch for some of our southern counties, and Effingham and Jasper counties are starting to feel that right now. And we expect a little more in the way of rain across those southwestern counties throughout the night tonight as well. We'll take a look there at our severe thunderstorm watch. We expect a lot of these to start to just disappear here, maybe even before 9 p.m. as it looks like the main threat has pretty well evaporated today. Might get another storm or two to develop here in the late night hours, but again, would not be surprised if we do not see another severe storm here the rest of the night. I'm going to look at those heat index values again here. They're basically just temperature values at this point in the day, but looking at how much those have dropped, and it's actually starting to go up just a little bit there in the northwest as this front starts to pass through. We even have a couple of feeling like 80s in the area. So again, we'll get one last look at our radar here before we wrap things up, looking like we are effectively ending our severe threat for the night. We'll just get a wide shot here of everything that's going on. Put everything in motion here. Again, we're going to wrap up here in just a moment as it looks like our severe threat has pretty well passed through the area. Effingham, Jasper dealing with a couple of severe storms, and again, we mentioned how north of Decatur we have a little bit of action out there, and we do have just a little bit there in northwest Champaign County. Of course, WCI 3 is on again tonight at 10. If anything is going on then, we will, of course, keep you in the loop and keep you updated with that as well. But until then, it looks like we are good here on our digital platforms. Of course, stay safe out there, and it looks like things are still going on in Jasper County. You can, of course, access the forecast anytime, anywhere in the active radar with the WCIA weather app. And other than that, again, just stay safe. Be aware of that flood threat tonight, and we will see you again tonight at 10 o'clock. Thank you for joining us.